Dr. Chaw, is that right, Chaw? Okay, thank you. If nothing changes, is it just a matter of time until North Korea has a ICBM that can hit America with a nuclear weapon on top?
Yes, sir, I think that's true. It's just a matter of time if nothing changes.
Why do they want to achieve that goal?
I think there are a couple of reasons. One is a desire for their own domestic narrative. This current leader has none of the mythology of his father or his grandfather, so he needs some big thing that he can point to because he doesn't have the economy or anything else to point to. The other is that it's part of a military strategy to be able to deter the United States from flowing forces and aiding our allies in the region.
Do all of you agree with that assessment? Let the record reflect a positive response. So, in many ways, the Korean War is not over for North Korea in their own minds. Is that fair to say?
I think that's right, sir.
I mean, they literally believe that we're going to come in on any given day and take their country away from them. Is that fair to say?
I certainly think that's the justification to their own audience of what they're pursuing. Yes.
How would you say the regime treats its own people on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being very bad.
100.
Okay.
I think it's about the worst human rights violator in the world today.
So here's the dilemma for the United States. We have the worst human rights violator in the world about to acquire a missile to hit the American homeland. Do you trust North Korea not to use it one day?
I think there's always hope that deterrence works as it had worked during the Cold War, but that assumes rationality on the part of all actors, and we can't assume that in North Korea's case.
In terms of threats to the United States coming from Asia, what would be greater than North Korea with a missile and a nuclear weapon that could hit the homeland?
I can't think of a more proximate threat to our security at this point.
Do you believe that if the North Koreans believe that military force is not an option to stop their missile program, they will most certainly move forward?
I'd be happy to give my colleagues a chance to answer, but I think that
Dr. Tellis, is that true?
No.
I believe that's true, sir.
Everybody believe that? Well, I believe that's true too, because if I were them, why would you? Because if you get there, you have an insurance policy, I guess, for regime survivability. All of you agree that China has the most leverage of anybody in the world regarding North Korea. Is that a fair statement? Is it fair to say they have not fully utilized that leverage up to this point? Do you believe that if China believed we would use military force to stop their missile program from maturing, they may use more leverage? Affirmative answer. What do you believe North Korea's view of the Trump administration and China's view of the Trump administration is regarding the use of force? Is it too early to tell? What's your initial impressions?
I think it's too early to tell. From the point of view of China, this is part of a larger set of questions that they pose for themselves about which direction the new administration is going to go. And they have, I think, two views of it. One is it's a reckless administration that's bound to get into conflict and even conflict with themselves. On the other hand, there are those, and I think this is now a prevalent view, who believe that the President of the United States is a deal maker, he's interested in business, and it's possible to get along with him, but they have to get there, and they're concerned and uncertain.
I would also add that I hope that the Chinese also understand that the structure of the situation is very different now. I mean, North Korea, as you said, Senator, is now approaching a capability that compels the United States to make choices it's never had to make before. And that whether it's President Trump or if anybody else who is president, they would all be forced into a situation today when they are making choices they never had to make before because there's a homeland security threat. My hope is that the Chinese understand that the structure of the situation is very different regardless of who is president.
Do you believe that North Korea's missile technology, if not changed, will mature by the time of 2020? They'll have a missile if nothing changes. Affirmative response. All right, so we're all going to the White House tomorrow night to be briefed. No good choices when it comes to North Korea. Do you all agree with that? Would you agree that if there was a war between North Korea and the United States, we would win? Do you think North Korea understands that?
We would win ultimately, but it would be extremely costly in the near term.
More costly to them than us?
Not where regime survival is concerned, obviously. More costly for them where regime survival is concerned, yes.
So I'll end with this thought. No good choices left. But if there's a war today, it's over there. In the future, if there's a war and they get a missile, it comes here. Thank you for your time.
May I add one other thought, Senator?
Absolutely.
We ought not to forget the prospects of further North Korean outward proliferation beyond just issues of
I didn't even get there because that bothers me as much as the missile, because they could give it to somebody, use it in a different way. So on that cheery note, we'll end.